Hey everyone, it's the Friday afternoon edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Nice to see the sun out there this afternoon. It's another one of those days where the sunshine's kind of ineffective, though. Of course, it is very cold outside. We started below zero in most spots this morning. We struggled up into the teens this afternoon. These are the temperatures just before 2 p.m. Only 11 at the Youngstown Warren Airport, 14 Newcastle, generally middle teens in the warmer spots today. Even in the southwestern part of Ohio, it's struggling to get up into the upper 20s down in Cincinnati. A little hard to tell on the satellite the difference between snow cover and cloud cover today, but we do have clouds off to our west. And of course, these are associated with the system that's coming in for tomorrow. But we'll stay fairly clear for the rest of the afternoon before the clouds win the battle towards the end of the day today. Well, this is kind of the leading edge of our weekend system. It hasn't really kicked up a whole lot of moisture just yet, but of course that is going to change. It's really easy to see where this system is when you plot up the temperatures. Basically, low pressure is somewhere in here, and our cold front's up here. And yeah, look at the temperatures behind the front. That's the second surge of Arctic air up here with temperatures in the teens and 20s and 30s below zero, and that's getting set to plunge south and east. The whole thing's going to strengthen as it does so, and it's all coming together for an active day tomorrow. Snow, wind, cold, you name it. It's going to be pretty lousy out there. So let's get to the details. I'll show you something a little different here. Now, if you're a meteorologist or really a hardcore weather nerd, you may be familiar with the BuffKit software. I use it every day in my forecasting. There's a lot going on here, but generally I just want to show you just kind of visually how the day is going to break down tomorrow. The blue bars down here show the intensity of the precipitation, and the times are delineated here at the bottom. Here's Saturday at 1 a.m., Saturday at 7 a.m., Saturday at 1 p.m. And as we go forward here, I can click, and the numbers that you see in the parentheses on the right-hand side here, that's the total snow accumulation. It's cumulative as we go through time. The number outside of the parentheses is the expected snow still on the ground. So in other words, it allows for a little bit of melting, et cetera, et cetera. But pay the most attention to the number in the parentheses as I scroll across here. So generally speaking, what we do expect here by about 7 in the morning on Saturday by daybreak, there could be a fresh inch of snow on the ground in some spots that early in the day. But then as things really ramp up towards midday as I go forward here, by 1 p.m., notice this is when the blue bars are really heading up. Midday still expected to be the busiest time of the day with perhaps intense snow squalls, whiteouts, really ferocious winds, et cetera, et cetera. So by the time we're done with midday and heading into the mid-afternoon, a lot of us are going to have picked up 3.5, 4 inches worth of snow. It could be hard to measure with all the wind, but a general 3.5, 4 inches will be a pretty good average. Give or take a little bit. Some places might get 3, some places can get 5, but give or take, around 4 towards the end of the day. Saturday, I've been talking about how this is a high ratio snow event. It's not a wet snow. This is going to be a real fluffy kind of snow that's easy for the wind to pick up and blow around and reduce visibilities. A lot of times you hear it's a 10-to-1 ratio, inch of liquid equals 10 inches of snow. This is going to be just about double that, on average about 20-to-1. And that's why it's going to be pretty easy for the atmosphere to squeeze out quite a bit of snow in a short amount of time. In fact, you can trace the expected snow ratios here. The ratios are these numbers over here, and then you can trace the blue line. So when the snow arrives late tonight, the ratios are right up here around 20, maybe 22-to-1. They'll bottom out when the snow is most intense, maybe at about 17-to-1, still above average. So bottom line for you, the atmosphere will be very efficient in how it squeezes out snow during the day tomorrow. Here's the NAM simulated radar bearing all this out. Again, a little bit of light snow start of the day. Watch for slick spots early. But the meat of this is coming midday. Here's 10 in the morning, and this is the band we're going to have to watch out for. Look at this right through here. This is a band of snow squalls right ahead or along the Arctic front. So by 10 in the morning, it's heading into Cleveland. As we go forward then, let's pick it up again, right around noon, right here. If the NAM timing were to be believed, this snow squall would be pushing through the WFMJ viewing area right at noon, moving in a southeasterly direction like this. This isn't going to last long in any one spot, but what you could see with a squall like this, if this pans out, is you can see snowfall rates that are up to an inch an hour, maybe even an inch and a half per hour. Now, does the squall stay for an entire hour? No, not necessarily. It might only be around for half an hour or even 20 minutes. But with those kinds of snow rates, the roads can go from fine to ugly in a hurry. Your visibility can drop to almost nothing in a hurry. This will be accompanied by a lot of wind. So, we are concerned for some whiteout conditions for a time, and it's going to be right around midday. Somewhere probably between 11 and 1 tomorrow. That's the trouble zone. The rest of the day is no picnic, but that midday period, that's what we're honing in on as the most troublesome period of the whole day tomorrow. Now, once this passes to the south and east here by mid-afternoon, here's 2 o'clock. Yes, there's going to be residual snow showers and flurries and light additional accumulations. But again, the worst of it probably around midday on our Saturday. Now, the wind is going to be a story. I think there's going to be some gusts tomorrow, perhaps up to 40 miles per hour or so accompanying this. Temperatures are going to be dropping like a rock all day, or at least in the afternoon. We'll reach our high probably around 10 a.m., and then temperatures will fall like a rock in the afternoon and evening. Wind chills will be down, as we've been talking about, into the single and even double digits below zero by evening, heading down to as low as 25 below by Sunday morning. That'll be the worst period for wind chills, Sunday morning. Worst period for actual temperatures, Monday morning, when we could bottom out around 10 below in the populated areas. Some backyard thermometers could hit 15, 17 below perhaps Monday morning. Thankfully, the wind will be calm, but it's going to be ugly. Now, one way we can look at this is kind of odds. This is the National Weather Service forecast, and what the map is that we're looking at now is the amount of snow in which there's kind of a 50-50 chance of either falling short of or exceeding. So in other words, if you see 4 on here, the National Weather Service is basically saying there's a 50-50 chance of more than 4 inches, 50-50 chance of less than 4 inches. So, 4 inches is kind of, right around where I think a lot of us are going to end up. Worst case scenario is this map right here. In other words, the odds are low of exceeding this amount. And you see a lot of 5s and about 6 up here in Mercer County. So your odds are low of exceeding that amount. The odds aren't 0, but they're low of exceeding 5 or 6 inches. So I think the sweet spot again is going to be 3.5, 4 inches worth of snow for most of us during Saturday. And most of it's going to be midday, early afternoon. There can be some light additional accumulations for the rest of the day, but midday is our trouble spot. All right, one other potential trouble spot has been midweek, but the model information has shifted quickly. First of all, look at this weather map Sunday morning. This is a pretty amazing weather map. This is a bona fide blizzard for Boston, Providence. New York City will get a lot of wind and be on the fringe of the heavy snow. Boy, this is just what they don't need. So our clipper that drags the Arctic air in here just blows up as it goes over towards the eastern seaboard Sunday morning. Look at all the wind back here Sunday morning. That's why the wind chills will be down to 25 below. But fast forwarding to midweek, what is essentially happening here is the storm that we've been talking about as a potential item for midweek. But if you've been watching my blogs, videos, this video, etc., I've been saying, hey, be careful with those who are hyping this, because there's way too much that we don't know. Now we're starting to get closer, and really it's becoming more obvious that this is probably going to be a big miss to the south for us. So sure, we might see some snow showers Tuesday to Tuesday night, but it would be with a cold front up here, not the main storm, which is down here. This could be a trouble storm for Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, etc., but probably not for us. Odds are looking very low anyway. I'm not going to 100% discount it, but odds are looking much lower today that we're going to have difficulties during midweek. The cold's not going anywhere, though, folks. I mean, this is a pretty remarkable pattern. Here's the 8 to 16 day outlook, and this takes us from the 21st of February right through the first day of March. So the last period of the month and into early March, it's a sea of cold in the eastern U.S. This is going to go in the record books as one of the coldest Februaries on record here in Youngstown. It's also going to mean that our winter forecast that we put out in late October is going to be just about on the money as far as the temperatures, because while we did have a very mild December, it's now being balanced out by a cold January and a very cold February, so it's all going to average out to be right around our forecast, which was for a winter that would average out around 3 degrees below normal for that 3-month period. And I think we're going to be in that ballpark by the end of February. And our snow forecast is looking pretty good as well, which was for above average snow, not as much as last year, but above average. So all in all, our forecast is probably going to work out, unfortunately, because it means that there's a lot more cold coming for the rest of the month. All right, so I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11. Have yourself a great weekend. I'll be checking in over the weekend on social media again, especially tomorrow with the snow pushing in. Andrew DePaulo will be in the studio all weekend, keeping you updated. If you don't follow him on Facebook and Twitter, be sure and do that. And I will see you right back here for another Weather for Weather Geeks on Monday.